Alright, this is James Ray here. So today I wanted to touch on something that a lot of people have had on their minds recently, which have been the increases in oil prices that a lot of people have been noticing when they go to top up their vehicle. And some people have even made changes in how they get about. That includes driving less, taking public transport, and so forth. So I wanted to speak to the geopolitics going on around that, which a lot of people are aware of, but how I wanted to address how that relates to what we do at Electrifying Australia, where it comes to helping people with spending less on their electricity bills instead of spending more. So let me pull it up. So this is a headline from the New York Times going over the blocking of oil in the Hormuz Strait. Okay. So a lot of people are already aware of what's going on, and I will come back to this in a minute. Um, but essentially, what's been going on is the oil and gas supplies have been blocked through the strait, which have caused prices for both to increase globally, and that's having broader spillover effects to economically. Now, if we rewind back to 2023, we had a similar thing going on where gas prices increased and electricity prices increased by up to 30% in a single year. So, what caused that? Well, one major contributor was Russia invading Ukraine, and that caused sanctions on Russian exports, especially oil and gas. And so that caused prices to increase, all right, for gas. And because gas is used in gas-fired electricity power stations, that caused electricity prices to increase. Okay. Now, if we look, um, there's a couple other things that I want to show you. So this is data from the Independent Pricing and Regulatory Tribunal, known as IPART for short, and this is publicly available data. So if you look up IPART retail electricity prices, then you can find this data, and then I've just worked out the compound annual increases during that period. So you can see the median price. Well, the prices range in June 2022 from $1,147 through to $1,478. All right. And then 3 years later, they range from, in the same period of June, from $1,577 through to $1,923. And this would be for a home, a typical residential home that uses 4,215 kilowatt hours per year. It might be a little bit low, like an average home might use more than that, especially if it's like a 4-person home or bigger, that would use more like 18 or more kilowatt hours per day. So 14,215 kilowatt hours per year would work out to be 11 kilowatt hours per day, which is quite low. It's more like the amount of usage that a sort of 2-person home would use per day, or even a 1-person home. So if we work out the compound, the increase, we look at this here. So if we look at the median price from June 2022 to June 2023, the annual electricity bill for that kind of usage, 11 kilowatt hours a day, increased from $1,328 to $1,804. And that works out to be a 35% increase, all right, over 3 years, 35.8%. All right. And this is the calculation for the compound annual increases from June 2022 to 2023. So between 9 to 11% increases. Okay. Or up to 12% for Endeavour Network, which is like Western Sydney. Ausgrid covers like the eastern half of Sydney and along the coast, closer to the coastline. This just shows how the electricity rates have increased. So they roughly doubled from $1,400 a year through to $2,700 a year or so for New South Wales for a home that uses 6,000 kilowatt hours per year. Okay, so this is from St. Vincent de Paul's Vinnie's tariff tracking project. So this is the increase over 13 years, so roughly doubling over 13 years. And here, she's got a lot of notifications going on. I better mute those. So this just shows how the electricity rates increase. So they've roughly increased by about 461% from, done some calculations here, from 1991 through to 2023 for this particular person who's tracked the electricity bills over time. And that includes introduction of daily supply charges that he wasn't getting back in 1991. He was just getting the rate for how much electricity that he used. So the reason I put together this video is a lot of people are looking at doing something about reducing their reliance on electricity. They're being more forward-thinking and proactive. So they come to us because they want to not only rely less on paying for electricity bills, but some are asking about electric vehicle car charges and looking at getting an electric vehicle, so they're not having to put up with their fuel costs doubling in the space of a month or so. It's pretty crazy. Yeah, I mean, we're just going to Costco and like the fuel was like $1, just under $1.50 a liter, and now it's like $2.46 a liter. So almost doubling over the space of about a month. And so yeah, people just looking at being less reliant on fossil fuels and the costs of increases around that and geopolitical supply shocks. So I guess there's two types of people. There's that type of person that's more proactive and looks at ways to get ahead and avoid being forced to put up with rising costs for electricity and fuel and broader spillover effects to the economy. And then there's a type of person that kind of just buries their head in the sand and hopes and prays that things will just get better magically, but they don't really make any kind of changes. I mean, maybe they're more like a more proactive person might, if they're not, maybe they don't have the wherewithal to just make changes with solar or electricity or to get an electric vehicle, so they might cut back on their electricity usage or how much they drive around, and that can have an impact in other areas. So if you're the type of person that likes to be more proactive and get ahead of things before they get worse, then there's a possibility that we might be able to help you, and we might not be able to. We'd have to assess your electricity usage and what it would look like with possibly installing solar panels and batteries for your home. And in case you're in an apartment, a lot of people aren't really aware that it is actually possible to get solar panels and batteries for apartments. So if you're curious to learn more about how that could be done, then feel free to contact us. And if you're a homeowner, the same applies. If you're renting, then it can be a little bit more difficult, is getting solar panels and batteries does require approval from the landlord. There are potential avenues that you could take, or the landlord could take, but we would likely have to get their approval in any case, because it is their property. So again, if you've got any questions, feel free to contact me. And if you're the type of person that would like to be more proactive and get ahead of things, then reach out to us. You can go to our website, electrifyingaustralia.com.au, and contact us through there. If you have my contact details, you can contact me directly or leave a message in the comments, or reach out to me on, for example, Facebook Messenger, and I'll get back to you when I can. Okay. Well, I hope this video has been helpful, and I hope you're able to move forward in this time of uncertainty with geopolitical tensions and economic repercussions. So take care.